When I was just a little boy, I asked my mother, what will I be? Oh, will I be happy? Will I be rich? And this is what she said to me. She said, que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. Future's not ours to see. No, no, no. Well, when I grew up and fell in love, I asked my baby what lies ahead. Oh, will there be sunshine day after day? And this is what my baby said. Sing it! She said, que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. No, no, no. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. David, now play. Now I have children of my own. They ask their mother, what will I be? They say, will I be handsome? Will I be rich? Will I
get to go to the camp in Peachtree City?
I tell them tenderly, que sera, sera. Whatever will be. The future's not ours to see. Hey, 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 hey. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera. Oh. Whatever will be, will be. Oh, whatever will be, will be. Oh.
Aren't Cooey.
Mom?
If we push too hard, something will push back.
What happens next is my favorite part.
And what comes next, indeed. Welcome one, welcome all. And man, that Jade sure can play. I could listen to David Alpay play violin and Scott McCord play guitar all day long and never get bored. Those guys are just magnificent, absolutely magnificent together. What a performance. What a performance. I almost wish that was the version of the intro song that we got instead of the Pixies version. I like their version better. But welcome one, welcome all to another edition of the From Caesar 4 teaser trailer discussion and predictions. Welcome one, welcome all. I mean, it's here. From is finally back, everyone. I know we've all waited a very, very, very long time, very patiently waiting for anything concrete on From season 4. And now it is officially, finally here. And it feels like the wheels are starting to turn again when it comes to the From fandom kind of gaining steam again, as it were. So I'm pumped. I'm super pumped. I'm so glad we got a little snippet of what to expect in season 4. There's already been a ton of phenomenal dissections and analyses and theories that have sprang out from this little teaser. And I imagine that will continue and leading right up until we get the full trailer, which I imagine we'll probably get next month. But here we are, folks. From is officially back, and it's awesome.
I know, it's so exciting.
It
We
is.
finally have new things to talk about. They also posted a new TikTok little video.
Yeah.
So it's really exciting. I'm thinking we're gonna get a poster soon. So
Yeah, I
I'm
hope.
wondering, now that we have Smiley back, are they gonna use the iconic Smiley again, you think?
Mm. I mean, with Smiley returning, I wouldn't be surprised if they put him on some kind of poster to promote the show. Although the Man in Yellow is the talk of the town right now. Like
Mhm.
the Man in Yellow it's such a hyped up character. I know people are probably excited to see Smiley again. But we know Smiley. We've seen Smiley. I imagine it's probably going to be the same Smiley we got, unless they do something different with his character, which could be interesting. If his monster is a little different now, that could be pretty cool. If he's not exactly the same Smiley, but a little bit different, that would be very interesting. But yeah, the Man in Yellow being such a big talk of the town, I have to imagine it's going to be one of those two on the poster, along with Boyd. Harold Perrineau, you got to put him on there too.
You have to, you have to. Um, and along with the other ones, all of a sudden everybody is important, because I keep forgetting that Julie is such a major part of everything now.
Yeah, she
So
is.
she has to be a big part of the poster.
I mean, and it was very interesting because before the season 3 finale, Julie's character was one of those characters where it was, I don't want to say she was an afterthought, but it was very much a secondary character that didn't seem to be too involved with the kind of main plots and mysteries going on. Yes, she was a part of the whole cicada storyline in season 2, being one of the 3. But her character really leveled up like 10 freaking levels just in that one episode, with the whole story walking ability, being added to her repertoire. So yeah, I have to imagine she's going to play a much more important role in going forward than she did in the first 3 seasons. She got an upgrade. She got some new toys to play with, and she is going to be flexing her muscles in season 4. I get the feeling. And we've talked about that before. I think you and I are of a similar mind, where we'll probably see her start off at the beginning of season 4, trying to get a handle on this story walking ability, trying to use it more and more, especially when she finds out about Jim, her father. It's going to set her on the path to becoming that future version of Julie that we saw. So I imagine that's where at least the first half of the season, that is where her trajectory will take her.
Yeah, I mean, when it makes all the sense, right, in the world. When you first encounter the fact that you have an ability, you're
Yeah.
first going to attempt and probably fail, right? Because it's a new ability. So
Yeah.
she got there almost on time, but not quite. And then I'm guessing she's going to try again and again and again. And she's going to do it multiple times, but not just for Jim. Because at the diner, she told us her goal, we have a couple of goals with Julie. She told us what her goals are. It's her baby brother, her father now.
And
Now we know it's
Chen.
her father because we saw that. But she had on her list baby brother and Tien Chen.
Yeah.
So we're going to see her attempting those timelines. Going back to the barn, maybe. We didn't see her when Tien Chen died. We didn't see her come in, right? She didn't come in a little too late like she did with her father. So I'm interested in seeing, is the timeline changing as she attempting? And again, my theory, she killed her baby brother.
I love that. I love that theory. It's super dark, but it is like kind of fitting in a way. Like, whenever you have these time travel aspects introduced into stories, there's always a price to pay. That's one thing you kind of always see. There's always a price to pay with meddling with time. And I think that would just be a very interesting irony where if Julie thinks she's going back in time to try and save her brother, only to be the very thing that causes his death. Very tragic irony in there. And that's a very, very interesting theory. And I would love to see that play out that way. But yeah, there's going to be some kind of price. Whatever she is attempting in season 4, whoever she's going to try and save, there's going to be a heavy price to pay for her and others, I would imagine. It seems like this is going to be a very dark season based on the official synopsis that we finally got from John Griffin. This is going to be a very, very dark season, and dark for Boyd as well. Like the official synopsis specifically talks about Boyd, his body and his mind continuing to break down in season 4. So it looks like he's really going to be struggling in this season with probably the Parkinson's and everything else that's going on, the stress of being who he is. Heavy lies the head that wears the crown and all. So yeah, I've always had a feeling that this was going to be such a dark, dark season. Their lowest moment in Fromville, where they suffer their most casualties.
I mean, it makes all of the sense in the world. If we're only going to get this season and then the next one has to wrap up all of those loose threads, all of the storylines that have been left unanswered, all of the questions that we have, right?
Yeah.
So if Boyd is not going to make it out of the show, he needs to break down in this season so that we get his death in the next one. We
season.
Really need to put him through it, right?
Yeah.
And I read the synopsis and I was terrified for Boyd because, I love him. He's my favorite character. And I feel like he has been through so much. It's like, Jesus, what else can you do? So I believe that your theory is correct. Your theory about Ellis being one of the people that potentially dies.
Mm-hmm.
With the synopsis, if we put that together with what has happened to Boyd, I think you're completely right. And it's going to break him to eventually lead to his death in a way that he sacrifices himself in season 5.
Yeah, it's going to be gnarly. I mean, we already have been seeing that Boyd is getting closer and closer to being pushed to the brink, to being pushed over the edge. He's holding on by a thread at this point. And Sarah noticed it. Sarah saw it at the end of season 3. She could see the toll that all of this was taking on Boyd. That's why she went and did what she did. That's why she goes and takes out Elgin's eye. So Boyd doesn't have to do anything else, because she could see it was starting to get to him. As tough and as strong and as good as a leader as Boyd is, he is human at the end of the day. We're all human, and everybody has a breaking point, especially under these kinds of settings. So yeah, I definitely expect season 4 to continuing that theme to break Boyd down. And yeah, I do think he will ultimately die in season 5. If season 5 is the final season, if they end up doing a 6, he'll die in that season. Whatever season is the final season, he will die in. That's what I think. But he's going to be very vital to getting everybody very close to the end and out of Fromville. And I think Kenny will finish the job along with the rest of the survivors that are still around at that point.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to like Sarah, just very quickly, Boyd is a character, a person who is about law and order. Boyd is the type of man that tries to provide some order and chaos where nobody else can. I mean, that's literally his job description. That's what he should do. In the war, during wartime, he provided structure for people that were going through hell, basically. And he's doing it again and from. So when Sarah says, this place has taken from Boyd too much, I will not let it take his soul. His soul is not the only thing that's in the line for Boyd. It's also his morality and his values. Because along with having to do something horrifying to Elgin, he also has to give up his morality and his values that he holds very dear to him, which is law and order. He's doing something he knows he shouldn't be doing, something that is not okay, something that is criminal when he is law and order, right? And he is the type of man that says, which is why I love him, he's like, listen, I'm going to do it because I have decided this is my family. You've messed with my family, and I'm going to answer for this.
Yeah.
He's the type of man that he will do something, but he's gonna answer for it. He's gonna say 100% I did it, and I'm here to represent it, you know? But Sarah comes in and she saves the day multiple ways, not
She-
just saving his soul so that he doesn't have to do something horrifying to this teenager, but
Mhm.
also saving face of Boyd didn't torture Elgin. So morally and with the values that he displays to the entire town, it's not as bad as if he had done something.
Yeah.
So I think some people are still going to want to follow Boyd because at the end of the day, he didn't cross that line. Sarah did. So let's all be thankful for Sarah.
Yeah, I mean, if nothing else, Boyd should very much be thankful for Sarah, and I think that's going to be a very interesting scene. Boyd and Sarah's first scene together in season 4. Like after all the chaos has calmed down, now that Fatima's safe, now after Boyd gets back to town, after seeing Smiley, after all the dust settles, that's going to be a very, very interesting scene. The first kind of one-on-one between Boyd and Sarah after, them discussing what she did to Elgin and all of that. And I hope when that scene comes around, I wonder if Sarah will explain her reasoning and tell her why she did this, and if Boyd hears that from her, I wonder what Boyd's reaction is going to be, knowing that Sarah did this in her mind to save his soul. Like I can imagine Boyd having very mixed reactions to something like that. On one hand, I could see him being like super grateful that the thought of her trying to save his soul. And then on the other hand, you can definitely see him maybe feeling a little bit guilty that someone had to die, that someone had to get their not die, but someone had to get their eye ripped out, so he could get his hands, keep his hands clean, basically. So I think it's going to be a very interesting reaction when we see Boyd and Sarah finally have that first conversation.
You know what I would love? So that sounds very emotionally charged, and I do love that. But for these two characters, the type of people that they are,
Yeah.
they have created a bond that doesn't require words. There is a
I think
bond
they might not even speak about it.
and
Mhm.
it's not this
Okay.
nice, like emotional sort of thing.
Yeah.
They don't talk. When Sarah needed comforting because she no longer wanted to live, Boyd didn't comfort her. He's just like, stop being weak. We're not going to do that. Move on. And that's it, right? So it is a bond where they're not going to let each other fall. They're refusing to give up on each other. So what I would like to see is a scene where it's them in the aftermath, Sarah and Boyd, and with unspoken words, they just look at each other with an understanding.
And just like, no, they just
Just
kind of
nod,
know. Yeah.
just like nod. Sarah nodding to Boyd and Boyd nodding to
And
Sarah,
Boyd like
saying,
giving a nod back, like,
thank you. And
thank
that's
you.
it. You go your
I,
separate
I, I
way.
would love that. I would love that just as much as a highly emotionally charged scene between them. As much as I would love to see a one-on-one, that would be just as good. That would be just as
Yeah.
satisfying. Just the subtle, unspoken, hey, we're on the same wavelength kind of thing. Thank you. Yeah, that would be just as good. That would be just as good as like a drawn out scene. Absolutely. Maybe even better. That might even be better. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Again, that's one thing I was sitting down thinking about earlier. When the teaser comes out, you naturally always want to start thinking about the biggest mysteries on the show. Who's the man in yellow? What's this? What's that? You always tend to your mind tends to go there. But after you have been thinking about those things for a little while, I love returning to the smaller stuff, the little stuff like that, like the first conversation between Boyd and Sarah, the first conversation between Tabitha and Jade. What is that going to look like? What are they going to talk about? Like, it's the little stuff like that that gets me just as excited for the big mysteries, because these characters are just so rich. I just love these characters that, I just want to see some of the small interactions sometimes. When you have a big season finale like we did with season 3, yes, you need time to let the dust settle, but after that, a calm will eventually set in at the beginning of the season. And that's when I think it's going to be very interesting to see some of these one-on-one conversations that we get with some of these characters after all the revelations we got in season 3. So I'm looking forward to some of these really smaller, more intimate moments just as much as I am the bigger ones.
Yeah. And I know that we have to say hi to the chat, but very quickly, let's go ahead and address Martin T. Sen Y4M. Nobody ever mentions Jim.
We try to.
Jim is going to be major. Jim is gonna be the center of attention of episode 1,
Oh yeah,
because I
definitely.
I completely agree with Jeremy's theory that they're going to find his body in the pool, right?
I think
Or
maybe. I think
they're
they
gonna
might.
find his body there.
If not
I
in the
think
pool, somewhere else. Yeah.
somewhere in town they're gonna find the body, and that's why Tabitha and Julie are just terrified and screaming and in shock. So he's going to be the center of attention of episode 1. If we
I
see
think so.
Tabitha, there's that picture of Tabitha just with tears streaming down her face, completely shocked. She's running and then she stops, almost
Yeah.
like she doesn't want to see what
Like
she's
she
about to
doesn't
see.
want to see, like she knows there's something dreadful right in front of her, and like it's almost like she knows what she's about to see, but doesn't want to face it. Yeah,
Exactly. And I believe that's going to be Jim's body. So
yeah,
do not worry for Jim. He will be the center of attention of episode 1. It's probably going to be all about his death. And we're going to get right off the bat. This episode is going to kick off with a super emotional scene,
yeah.
because we're going to have to see Tabitha and the children say goodbye to their father. And
Mm.
I mean, for me, it was already an emotional scene when Jim's last line is, "Sometimes I remember what it used to be
Oh,
like." Oh, I always loved Jim. I did. I was
me
always like
too.
a Jim stan.
And that's one thing that I always, we were always very fine with admitting that. I know a lot of people in our chat specifically didn't like Jim, like at least during season 3, there was a lot of people that just did not like Jim. It kind of became a running meme of the show. But yeah, I mean, you and I feel like we always went to bat for him a little bit. I think Ravener also went to bat for Jim a little bit as well. Where he does have some of these redeeming qualities, especially when you get to the end of season 3, when he finally has that really good revelation, that really good character growth moment where he finally realizes that he's been going about things maybe the wrong way, and he's been trying to hold on a little too tight to control. And he's finally embracing what Tabitha needs. It's not what he needs anymore. He's finally embracing what she needs. So I feel like he had a really good character arc right before he got killed off. And yeah, that one scene, as you mentioned, that one scene really, really gets me every time we see it, where you just get that quick little snippet flashback of them driving down the RV before they get in Fromville, almost like it's showing you the last moment of normalcy the family had before they landed in Fromville. And Jim reminiscing about, I wish we could go back to the way things were before all this. It's wicked small snippet, but it's such a heartwarming, moment in that episode. Yeah, absolutely great. I'm gonna miss Jim. But I do 100% agree with you. He will very much be the focal point of episode 1. I mean, with the man in yellow killing him during the day, there's going to be tons of questions as to what happened, who did this, why. Jim will most likely be a big focal point, maybe in the first few episodes even. Which is my next question to you and to everybody in the chat as I start saying what up to the chat as well. Let us know. What do you guys think in the chat? And let me know as well, PM. Do you think we'll get a funeral scene for Jim like we got for Tien Chen? That was one of the things I loved about Tien Chen's send-off. She really got a beautiful service at there at the end. And it was such a heartfelt moment between her and Kenny, and a heartfelt moment between Tien Chen and Jade, with Jade and Christy kind of preparing her body. That was a very kind of tender moment, kind of shining a light on the connection that Jade and Tien Chen had. But let me know what you guys think in the chat, and you as well, PM. Do you think we'll see a funeral scene for Jim?
You know what? I really hope that we do. I
Mhm.
really, really hope that we do, because the funeral scene, the one that we have seen for Tian Chang, was beautiful. It was really, really nice to see the community coming together, and to be reminded that our favorite characters are on the chopping block. This
Nobody's
is the
safe.
type of show where nobody has immunity, right?
Yeah.
You just don't know what you're going to get, which makes the show exciting. I would like to see, because Jim is a major character. The story is about the Matthews family.
It's the
That's what
Matthews.
has been stated. The Matthews family. He is the head of household of the Matthews family, and he has just been murdered. So hopefully we do get a funeral scene, and I'm guessing it's going to be just heavily emotionally charged.
Yeah.
And um I do want to see that. I was rewatching season 1, episode 1, and there's a part where he's talking to Tabitha. They seem to have this summer in Texas that they keep talking about the summer in Texas. And there's a song that comes up on the diner's jukebox that just starts playing on its own. And he smiles at Tabitha and Tabitha smiles at him. He
Yeah.
always did such a good job, the actor, of
Yes.
conveying this love that he had for Tabitha. The way that he looks at her
Yeah.
without saying a word, you could just see he
Yeah.
was in love with her.
Mhm.
So it's absolutely heartbreaking. And again, I've said this before, but Tabitha told us it does not matter if she's reincarnated. She said to Julie, the love of my life is your father.
Yes.
So in this version of herself, I do not believe that she loves Jade.
No.
Like that is a previous version of herself. The love of her personal current life is Jim, and he just died.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree with you. I like when the revelation first came out at the end of season 3, that was one of the first questions that, the whole chat and everybody was talking about. Will we see Jade and Tabitha become an item in season 4? And right away I thought I just don't think so. I don't think this is one of those instances where they remember their past lives and all of a sudden just fall in love with each other magically. I don't think it's like that. I think they're getting memories of past lives, but I don't think they're going to be having all of these kind of flooding of emotions return. At least I'm not expecting that. I'm more with you, where I think where Jim is the love of Tabitha's life, and I don't think Tabitha will ever love anyone ever again. So yeah, I don't think they'll ever become an item. But in terms of the funeral, though, which we started with, I'm kind of 50-50 at this point. Like I want to see, I wouldn't mind seeing a Jim funeral. Like, it would be a very tender moment. I actually liked Jim. But they did already do a beautiful funeral scene with Tien Chen. So I could kind of understand the writers maybe not wanting to do that again, seeming maybe repetitive. So I feel like it's 50-50 at this point as to whether or not we'll get one. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing one, but I guess it'll be interesting to see what they do. But yeah,
Wait,
what do you guys?
Theory.
Hmm.
Sorry.
Hit me. No, hit me.
You inspire ideas. Okay, so theory.
Uh-huh.
Because of Tien Chen, right? It was a
Mhm.
beautiful scene because we had Father Kotri. We no longer have Father Kotri. So he's not there to lead the service. What about our new arrival, Sophia? She has a Bible, the
She
first
has a
Bible
Bible.
in
She could lead it. Yeah.
She's very religious,
Mhm.
right? Being a
Yep.
pastor's daughter, she has her Bible. We see her praying. So, being that this is the very first Bible in from, Tabitha also was very much into the Bible. She actually went to Father Kotri to gather
Yeah.
whatever paperwork he had on what he could remember from the Bible.
Yep.
Maybe Tabitha asked Sophia to lead the service. And that is how she starts, embodying the role of the religious comfort, the religious person in town.
Interesting. I mean, the timing is very fortuitous, if nothing else. I mean, the episode one of season 4 is reportedly titled The Arrival, which a lot of us think is likely, it'll probably have dual meanings, but one of those meanings will likely be the arrival of Sophia, the new character. I imagine, I wouldn't be surprised anyway if she arrives right there in the first episode. It could also be referring to the Man in Yellow's arrival. It could be referring to the arrival of an event, maybe not one person, but yeah, if nothing else, the timing would be very convenient, if nothing else. If they did want to do a quick little funeral procession, Sophia, I imagine, would probably be able to do that for sure. But yeah, what do you guys think? Funeral for Jim or no funeral? Again, I understand if the writers wouldn't want to do one just because it might feel a little repetitive. And season 3, I really ended off with a huge bang. Season 4 is going to be, I imagine, a lot more fast-paced than the first 3 seasons. There's a lot to get through and not a whole lot of time to get through it. So will there maybe be one of those things where there's just not time for a funeral because everybody's scrambling to find out what happened to Jim, to actually sit down and mourn him? So we'll see. We shall see. Mon says, yes, I think it'll be a funeral. I don't think so. They probably won't even have time, says Seba, and that's a possibility. Yeah, the imminent danger means no funeral, says Big Heck. Again, Jim getting killed during the day is a game changer. It's a little bit different than Tien Chen's death, where they know exactly what happened and why it happened. This is different. I have to imagine when Jim's body is discovered, the man in yellow is probably going to be long gone. Or who knows? I mean, I suppose he could stick around, but I think it would be very interesting from a writing standpoint if whoever discovers Jim's body discovers it during broad daylight and has no idea who killed him and how he died. Just adding an extra layer of tension and terror to the residents of Fromville. Now they're wondering, can we trust each other? Because we already have the death of Tilly that happened during the day that has the town on edge, already thinking that one of the townsfolk did it. They're already trying to pin that on Sarah. If another body shows up also during the day, just like Tilly's did, I think the townsfolk are going to be super, super on edge, unless for some reason they know it was the man in yellow right away, unless he kind of sticks around for the body to be claimed, which I don't, again, I think just from a writing standpoint, it's much more interesting to have them discover the body and then find out about the man in yellow afterwards. So yeah, 2 bodies showing up during the daytime might not be any time for a funeral if that's the case. The townsfolk might be just scrambling in fear mode. No funeral because nobody is safe in the daylight now. That's a possibility as well. Yeah, there's no more community. I mean, we are seeing the cracks. Season 3 definitely laid the foundation for the cracks in the community. We're definitely seeing that. And I think season 4, we'll see that even more, where, a lot of people think there's going to be some kind of split in the town coming at some point. And I totally can see that happening for sure. Maybe the funeral and grieving is the man in yellow's favorite part. Maybe. Who knows? And I mean, wouldn't that be funny? We're all, we hear that line and we're all wondering, we're all thinking that his favorite part is going to be something like super gruesome and dark and like scary. What if his favorite part is like is like something like super innocent? It's not going to be the case, but it would be funny. But no. Who knows? Maybe his favorite part will be the funeral. Maybe he likes to see, sometimes people like to return to the scene of the crime. Killers have been known to return to the scene of the crime. So who knows? Yes, Jim will get a funeral scene. Yeah, okay. So it's kind of a little bit split down the middle. You got a few people saying no, Jim won't get a funeral, and a few people think that he will get a funeral. So it's kind of split. I guess we'll see. I loved Jim. Ghost Jim may come back and beat up Jade for sleeping with his wife like 100 years ago. I don't know about the whole beating up Jade about sleeping with his wife 100 or however many years ago it was. But I definitely think we're going to get Ghost Jim at some point in season 4. There was that picture that leaked a few months back that showed the actor Ian Bailey and the actor Sean Majumder, who plays Father Cautry, both in Nova Scotia, Canada, during the filming of season 4. They took a picture together, which, if anyone remembers last year, we saw that picture of Sean Majumder and Boyd when he was in Nova Scotia last year. And that kind of gave us the indication that we knew we were going to see Father Cautry in season 3 again, and we did. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a ghost-like version of Jim show up like we've seen Father Cautry and Tom, the bartender, show up in the past. At this point, I think it's really only a matter of who he shows up in front of. I think Tabitha is the obvious choice, but Julie could also be one as well.
Yeah, I mean, since we're saying that the first episode would probably focus on Jim's death,
Yeah.
it could be possible that the reason why he was in Nova Scotia filming was because they need
His
him
body. Yeah.
in order to create the body, right?
Yeah.
We know that for Tien Cheng, they created a double of her body, right? And they were saying it was super realistic, but that requires work. That requires you actually having the person and being
She had to be there
able.
too, yeah.
So perhaps that's why he was there. But I would like him to appear as a ghost to Tabitha. We know that Tabitha likes to avoid difficult situations. That's why she has her iconic no, no, no. She disassociates when things get
Yeah.
really, really tough. She disassociates, right?
Yeah.
And I think that he could come in really handy to appear to Tabitha as an apparition, as a ghost, and
Yeah.
remind her, I may be dead, but we still have 2 kids here. You need to
You
get my
gotta
kids
keep going.
closer.
You have to
You
keep
have
going.
to keep going.
Yeah.
Because I can see Tabitha saying, this is costing me too much. Jim
Yeah.
is dead now. If I continue, what about Ethan and Julie? Something could happen to them. Perhaps I don't go looking for knowledge because knowledge comes at a cost. So she's going to need somebody to push her, to give her that little extra push and remind her, you need to keep going even if you're scared.
Yeah, yeah, and I could definitely see that being the case. Like if he does show up and it is actually him, and not say because I know they're still up for debate as to whether Father Cautry is really Father Cautry or Fromville kind of screwing with Boyd. Same thing with Tom and Jade. But yeah, if Jim can actually manifest, not Jade, Jim can actually manifest himself, it would probably be to tell Tabitha that exactly. I 100% agree with you because yeah, they still have 2 kids to take care of. They still need to get their kids out of this hellhole that has fallen to Tabitha now. So yeah, I could see him maybe showing up and giving her that little bit of motivation that she needs just as she's about to hit rock bottom, which I imagine she's going to get very close to hitting for sure. For sure. Let's see what else. Yeah, it looked like Tabitha pushed Julie away to embrace Victor when she remembered. Yeah, that was very interesting. At the end of season 3, episode 9, that was when Tabitha first starts to remember these past lives of her. That was super interesting. Yeah, she pushes Julie away and embraces Victor. Very, very interesting. Almost like it was just natural for her to do that. But I mean, I suppose it makes sense given what she remembered at the time.
Well, David Agile 81, always you have amazing observations. Yes,
Oh, yeah.
it does appear that she pushes Julie away because she actually puts her hand down. I remember watching that and thinking,
Yep.
whoa,
I was like,
that's a
whoa,
little
what
mean,
the
Tabitha.
fuck? It's a little
You're a little
shady.
mean.
Yeah.
And it made me wonder, is it that her becoming Miranda and kind of just channeling that particular life
Her love
gives
for
her all
Victor,
of the
maybe.
emotions that she had for that particular child? So then what happens when she channels all of the previous past lives? I'm kind of worried for her children. There is something to be said about Tabitha and the way that we have seen this. Okay, this is brutal and maybe a little too, I don't know, mean to Tabitha, but we have kind of seen her reaction towards her own children. I mean, the Ankui girl, that is her daughter who
Yeah.
waited for years,
Who
for
knows
decades.
how long? Potentially
She has been
centuries
waiting
for all
for
we know.
decades because she
Yeah.
told her mom told her, I'm gonna come back and I'm going to help you. I'm gonna save you. Basically, her mom told her, I'm coming back for you. So she's been waiting for decades and decades to see Tabitha again, to see her mom again. She even gives her a little Ankui smile,
Little
the very
Ankui
best smile that
smile.
you can give her. And she says Ankui. And her mother, and she's sitting there in front of her mother. And I think she seems expectant, like, are you gonna hug me? Do you remember me? And Tabitha
Mhm.
gives her one last no, runs away
No,
from her.
no, no. Yeah.
That kind of broke my heart for the poor Ankoi child. I mean, I know that she's scary, but that's your child.
It's your kid at the end of the day. I mean, this was, I mean, it's that typical kind of Tabitha reaction, but I felt super bad because yeah, you see that little innocent little smile on this poor little Ankui child. Finally, after all these years, my mother finally remembers who I am. My mother finally remembers that I'm her daughter. And I think a lot of us are in agreement that this particular Ankui child that kneeled in front of Tabitha was Jade and Tabitha's original daughter. I think a lot of us are kind of in agreement there. It just would make sense that would be their daughter that walked up to them while the rest of them stayed back. But yeah, it was just super heartbreaking to see this scene, this poor kid, just who knows what they have been through over these however many years, walking up to your mother, hoping that she's finally going to remember you, only for her to freak out and run away from you again. It's super sad for the Ankui child. At least Jade stayed there. And that, again, that's another thing I would love to see after the dust settles. We tend to think about the bigger, predictions and theories and stuff, but I like thinking about some of just the smaller interactions every once in a while. What exactly happened after Tabitha takes off? Jade stays there. Jim takes off after Tabitha. It's just Jade there with the Ankui children. what happens? Does he try to talk to her? Does he go up to her? Do they have an interaction between them two? It's the little stuff like this that I want to see just as much as the big stuff, because Jade stayed right there, kind of just like in a state of shock, probably just wheels turning, remembering everything. But I would love to see the continuation of that scene. Does he try to talk to her, or does Jade also just walk away? You know, I don't know. I think Jade is the type of person who would go up to her before Tabitha would. Tabitha always runs away. Jade's not like that. Jade tends to run towards problems. So I think Jade would have a different reaction. I wouldn't be surprised if he did try to kind of go embrace her, maybe even. So I would love to see a continuation of the scene of Jade still at the tree with the violin.
That would be super emotionally charged and a very heavy moment, because when we were watching the show originally, a lot of us were commenting how Jade is not a kid sort of person. He just wasn't, right. He was always like watching his language and like messing up, and in front of Ethan, saying bad words. And then he kind of got used to seeing Ethan around, being around Ethan, and we saw him have this fatherly sort of moment with
Little
Ethan.
bit.
And we
Yeah.
all thought, oh, that's very sweet, he's growing as a person.
Yeah.
Well, now we find out that he has been a father all along. He has been a father trying to save his child for decades or centuries. We don't know at this point, maybe centuries. So he has been at heart a father all along. Hopefully he would go up to the Ankui daughter and embrace her. I need somebody to show that child some warmth, because
I
it's
know.
killing me.
Someone show that poor kid some love, right? Come on, Jade. I'm hoping Jade will be the one to do it. But yeah, it's again, I like some, I'm looking forward to, I guess, some of these little moments, these little continuations, which is why, and I very much agree with you, it doesn't look like there's going to be a time jump. And for those of you who haven't seen it already, check out PM Philosophy's channel and check out her latest video. She put out a video breaking down the From teaser trailer and her theory on there being no time jump. And I 100% agree with you. It looks like this is going to be a straight up continuation, and I love that. But yeah, it's these poor Ankui children. Someone needs to show them some love already, and I'm hoping Jade might be the one to do that. But we shall see. We shall see. Let's see what else we got. Let me scroll down. Is she doomed to fear her children like her predecessors? I guess that's the point. That's the big question. Are Tabitha and Jade the reincarnation? Is this the cycle that finally breaks the cycle? I think it is. I think it is. I think there's a reason why John Griffin set this story now. There's a reason why he set up this story to have multiple cycles, and there's a reason why these characters are his focus, and this time period is his focus. Because they're going to. I'm very confident that they are going to be the ones to break the cycle. So I do think Jade and Tabitha will eventually get it done. I don't think it'll be another failure. But you never know. You never know. This is From at the end of the day. And I suppose it's not too much of a stretch to think, what if the bad guy wins?
I mean, right? It would make for an interesting story. I don't think so. But
I don't think so. No.
there has been a change with the new information that we have. There is a change in some of the theories that we had about Tabitha and Jade. So
Yeah.
I remember, a couple live streams ago, we were thinking Tabitha and Jade are very important. They probably have been the two versions of themselves that made it this far. That is very important. That's why the Men in Yellow showed up. That's
Yeah.
why all of a sudden he's interacting with them during the day. Because the Men in Yellow's line is, "This is my favorite part," that means he has done this before.
Multiple times. Yeah.
He has done it not just once, but multiple times, which means that our pair, original Tabitha and original Jade, have made it this far over and over and over.
Yeah.
But they have failed at a certain point. And if this is his favorite part, perhaps this is when he gets them, where he really makes them suffer and he ends all of their hope that there is salvation. So he's done it multiple times. They are not that special in that version, right? They're
Mhm.
not that special. They made it this far, but so have others.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be what's following that, what
Mm.
is his favorite part, then making it through that, that's going to determine if they are the couple that saves the children, which I think eventually they would.
Yeah. Yeah, I think eventually they will too. But no, yeah, you're 100% right. I mean, we were kind of operated under the assumption, or at least we thought anyway, it was a theory that this Jade and this Tabitha, this iteration might have gotten further than anyone else. And that's why the man in yellow showed up. But yeah, based on that line, it looks like that's not the case. It looks like every cycle has played out exactly like this. And the man in yellow shows up at this moment every single time. You definitely get that sense from his line anyway. Which is why I think it's going to be very interesting and I think all of it leads eventually up to a massacre. I think that is the reset of the cycle. I think in 1978, the big massacre was that cycle's reset. But maybe that's why some things are kind of slowly changing in Fromville, because not everyone from that cycle died. Victor is still alive. For all we know, Eloise might still be alive. That whole cycle didn't die off. But I do think that is the ultimate culmination. I think the man in yellow sees these cycles play out, and I think each cycle eventually ends in a massacre of the town, and then the whole thing restarts. That's how he keeps it going. That's how he keeps his power. And this is going to have to be Jade and Tabitha's cycle are hopefully going to have to be the first that break that cycle, that survive the massacre or stop the massacre entirely and break the chain. But who knows? We shall see. But at the very least, yes, it looks like the man in yellow has witnessed these cycles multiple times, probably for multiple years, multiple decades, even maybe. But yeah, we shall see. Yeah, we just really need some sunlight and a dictionary. Maybe that's all they need. A little bit of WD, a little bit of vitamin D, and they're good to go. That's all they need. Give them some sun, get them some sunlight. I'm getting some dark ending. I wonder if Tabby and Jade have to die before the ritual to break it. Have to die for the ritual to break it. But that would erase Julie and Ethan. Interesting. I mean, I imagine there's going to be a lot of death. I imagine a good amount of our characters are going to have to die. And I wouldn't be surprised if Jade and Tabitha are one of them. I mean, they are kind of very central to these whole cycle things. But who knows? Who knows who's going to live? Who knows who's going to die? At this point, I'm almost not positive, but I'm very confident that I think Boyd is going to have a very heroic death. I think Boyd's going to have a super heroic death, and his death, I think, is going to be one of the catalysts that kind of helps them get out of here, along with hopefully some other pieces being moved into place. But I think Boyd is going to have a very heroic death at some point, and I think Kenny will pick up where Boyd left off and lead everybody out. But yeah, who knows? Could be a darker ending. Maybe there's a darker ending than we thought. You never know, especially this day and age where television has evolved so much as a medium for storytelling. You go back 10, 15 years and all of the decades that lead up to it. Television always kind of followed a very similar, same model. Good versus evil, the good guy wins. The audience wants to see the good guy win. But TV's changed so much in the last 10 years or so, really, thanks to Game of Thrones for the most part, killing off their main character at the end of their first season, really emboldened in, a lot of other shows to do similar stuff, to not be afraid to kill off main characters at the drop of a hat, and to not be afraid to have some darker and more bleak endings. So yeah, I feel like, if this show would have come out, 10 years ago, I thought I would have said for sure they're going to defeat everything and they're going to live happily ever after. But this day and age, that is definitely not a guarantee with how television has evolved. It could be a darker ending than we think.
Yes. And thank you so much, Peter Griffin. What an honor to have you here. I have about 5 million theories, okay? 5 million theories. And one of my theories that I'm working on is that the trolley problem that has been mentioned in the show, and now that we have the theory of determination that Jade has mentioned, and time travel, basically, the story walking, if we see it as time travel, one of my theories is that since the Ankui children created the tree, I believe that it is this belief that the Ankui children had that created from. Their mother and
Yeah.
father said of one of them, I'm going to come back and save you. But they were dying. So that was not reality. But they said, hey, I'm going to save you, even though they were being literally sacrificed. Well,
Mhm.
I believe that the children believe so much in
Put all their
salvation.
hope. Yeah.
They put all of their hope, they created the tree, and they created from. They created the opportunity for them to come back and save them, even though they would
Yeah.
die. So literally the children created a ripple in time and space, and they created this special place that would allow them to try over and over again until they came back to save them.
Mhm.
That complicates the story a little bit because now the children are both victim, but they're also the perpetrators. They are
Perpetrator.
who
Yeah.
is making from.
Mm.
Now, if you save the children, I think that they're going to get to the point where if you save the children, that means that you provide them with the salvation that they needed at the time. Perhaps that means that you're not going to exist anymore because you are no longer needed because from was never created. And so it's
Mm.
going to be an undoing in time and space. And they're going to
Ah,
have to be okay with sacrificing themselves and saying, okay, I guess I'm Jade. I'm this version. I thought I was myself.
yeah.
But if I provide them with salvation, none of this would have ever existed. Julie wouldn't have existed. Ethan wouldn't have existed. So perhaps it's that trolley problem. Are you willing to sacrifice yourself and your family for the world so that nobody ever has to enter from again?
That's yeah. I mean, because even if they do make it out, if Fromville is still standing in its current state, it's still a threat. It is still a threat to them and to everybody else. I mean, we saw what happened with Tabitha. She got out and then got pulled right back in. Yes, I imagine they'll probably explain the mechanics of how people get in and out a little bit more clearly by the time the series ends. But yeah, I mean, you in an ideal ending, Fromville itself will kind of be at least inaccessible. Part of me always wondered if this was some kind of supernatural prison. Why are all of these supernatural things in this one place? I mean, we see the monsters are there. We got the origins for the monsters, how they were created. But how is all this other stuff created? The cicada entity, all of this other stuff, where did all of it come from? So I always liked the idea that Fromville itself was some kind of supernatural prison. But and these things are, and it's here to kind of keep these things from getting out into the real world. But I also like the idea of the children potentially starting it, because we did hear the boy in white say it all started with the children. It all started with the children was exactly what the boy in white said. Not yes, he goes on to specify that they poured their hope into the roots and created the faraway trees, but he was very specific when he said it all started with the children, indicating a potential possibility that they did create Fromville. So that's going to be very interesting once they dive into that a little bit more and maybe clarify exactly what the boy in white meant by all. And you know my theory. I won't be too surprised if when they poured their roots into when they poured their hope into the roots and created the faraway tree, that they created the boy in white at the same time. That he might potentially be the spirit avatar for the tree in a sense, because we see how closely tied the boy in white is to the faraway trees. Every single time one of our character uses a tree, it's because the boy in white either directs them to it or is nearby. The only time a character doesn't get okayed by the boy in white is Dale, and we saw what happened to him. So I think that's a possibility for the boy in white, either that or he was one of the children that was going to get sacrificed. Maybe there was originally 8 children and he was the only one that got away, but something else happened to him. One of those two, I have a feeling. But no, I like the idea that the children might have potentially started a little more than this than we originally thought. Maybe they created a little more than just the faraway trees.
Yeah. My theory evolves, right? Because then I have another theory that branches off that crazy theory. When you're doing a sacrifice, when we get a story of child sacrifice or sacrifice of any kind, you are sacrificing them because you want something. I'm
You want
giving
the
you life.
power that sacrifice is going to create.
You're
Yeah.
going to provide me with something. There is an exchange happening. And so the way that the children were set up and looking up and chanting, it makes me believe, this is my theory, that the sacrifice was going well, quote unquote, for the entity that was performing the sacrifice, perhaps Men in Yellow. And the entity was going to receive something in exchange. He was going to give the parents eternal life,
Yeah,
because they,
he was
he
getting
needs their
something out of
children,
this
but he's
sacrifice.
getting something in return. He's getting
Yeah,
something major in return.
definitely.
Now, when Tabitha and Jade mess up the ritual, they mess it up by telling the children right before, we're going to come back and save you. We're going to save you. I promise you. I know you're literally being sacrificed, but I will save you. All of the children wanted so badly to believe in this that instead of focusing on what they were supposed to be focusing on for Men in Yellow, they focused on creating the opportunity to be saved. So basically, they messed up their sacrifice. They took away
Mhm.
the ask. Men in Yellow didn't get what he was supposed to get. Instead, they get from.
Ooh, that's an interesting theory. That's an interesting theory. Yeah, part of me always wondered if, if the Man in Yellow was the one who started all of this, because we know someone did. Someone or something came to these parents and convinced them to do this. We hear that from Fatima. It promised them immortality, so they sacrificed their children. So this wasn't something the parents just dreamed up. Someone coaxed them into this. Someone dangled this in front of them. And I think it would be fitting if it was the Man in Yellow. I mean, we're getting close to the end now, so it's getting a little sticky to continuously introduce more and more villains every single season. It gets to a point where you kind of need to just introduce your big bad and play out the rest of the story. So I'm really hoping that is the Man in Yellow. But yeah, I always thought it would be interesting that he kind of tricked the parents into doing this, into thinking that they were getting some form of immortality, but really they ended up getting cursed into becoming these nightmare creatures. And the Man in Yellow used the power from that sacrifice for something, maybe to create the cycles, maybe to keep power. So his power would keep going and these cycles would keep going on. But I love your idea too. I think that's just as good. And I think it's easily plausible. Yeah, I can't wait to find out. And this is hopefully going to be the season where a lot of these bigger theories, a lot of these bigger ideas are going to start getting trimmed down a little bit once we start getting some more definitive answers. That's the one thing I did enjoy about the end of season 3. We did get some definitive answers, and it did, kind of put to rest a few theories that were kind of big. And that's good. I'm super happy about that. You have to get to a point where you start debunking some of these, big wild theories as we get more answers. And that'll most likely be a big part of season 4. I imagine a lot of our theories will either be confirmed or debunked in season 4 once we get these answers. But do we still think the children can be saved? If Julie can't change the story, how would they be saved? And I guess that's the big question, right? The $1 million question. What exactly does, quote unquote, saving the children mean? We know that the children need to be saved, but we don't exactly know what that means. Does that mean going back and stopping the sacrifice before it ever happens, save? Or does that mean kind of metaphorically saving their souls so they can finally rest? What does save the children actually mean? That is what we really need an answer for. Because yes, we did get that one line from Ethan when he tells Julie that she can only observe, but she can't change anything. But I'm not 100% sure I'm buying that from Ethan. I feel like you just introduced this ability to Julie. I feel like it's very weird to kind of just instantly put these very arbitrary rules on it coming from Ethan. How the hell do you know Ethan? How do you know? Yes, I get Ethan knows storytelling and he knows, about stories, but he knows about fake stories. He knows about, fantasy stories. This is something different. How would he have any idea what Julie would and wouldn't be capable of just because stories he's read have had similar abilities? So I'm not really putting too much stock in what Ethan said. I feel like putting these arbitrary rules on Julie's abilities before she even really learns how to use them is a bad idea. So I think she can change things. I won't be surprised anyway if Ethan was wrong.
Yeah, you and I have talked about it. Ethan grinds our gears with all of his ideas sometimes, but you and I have talked about it. This is good storytelling. the writers of the show are amazing writers.
It's good
Okay, they
storytelling.
are really, really great.
It
This is
is.
a great show. They would not introduce story walking, time travel, to then say it's worthless. You could do
It's
nothing with it.
worthless. Exactly.
So, next chapter, that's not good storytelling. That is not good storytelling at all. And it doesn't make any sense. And it's something that you could have skipped.
Yeah.
I believe that she will be able to change things because the way that Ethan explains it, you're a story walker. You can see the story once it's been told, but you
Yeah.
can't really do anything about it. You can't change the story because it's already happened.
Yeah.
I believe that we have proof that that is incorrect. If she is only an observer, then every time that she goes back and looks at stories, she would simply be walking through the scene
And not
and
interacting.
looking at what's
Yeah.
happening. She would
Yeah.
not be able to interact, and they wouldn't be able to interact with her because
Yeah.
she's just an observer. She is
Mm.
not an actual player, a physical player in that time.
Yeah.
But we have proof that she throws the rope for Boyd,
She
that she
interacts
talks to
with the
Martin.
world.
She's
Exactly.
interacting. There is
Yes.
an exchange here. They're looking at her, she's looking at them. She's
Yep.
grabbing things physically. She's able to
Yep.
touch things, to throw
Yep.
them down. She's able to run away to talk to Martin, have a
Mhm.
conversation that is fluid at the current time. That proves to us that she can change things.
I
That in
think so.
itself is proof. She's not just watching, otherwise, she would have walked through and looked and saw Boyd down in the well and saw Martin, but she wouldn't have been able to talk to him because talking to him is changing the story. Martin
Yeah.
didn't talk to her. Talking to him is all of a sudden I'm here and you're talking to me. Throwing the rope is I wasn't here, but now I'm here and I'm physically holding an object and I'm able to manipulate the object. That
Yeah.
is proof that she can change things.
I think she can. I think well, and I think like if she couldn't change anything at all, like you said, I don't think she would have been able to interact with anything physical in the real world when she is story walking. Because even the future version of Julie that does story walk and goes back to try and save Jim, she's physically able to interact with the man in yellow. The man in yellow grabs her and throws her to the ground. Jim touches her. Jim holds her in his arms. So she is physically able to interact with the world when she does story walk. So why wouldn't she be able to change something? Unless the timeline is already so predetermined that every one of Julie's story walking trips has already been mapped out. And I don't think that is the case. I feel like that's the very antithesis of setting up an ability like that. Why set it up at that point? But yeah, I won't be surprised if Ethan's wrong and she can change things. If not, maybe not change everything, but change just the right amount of small things that end up creating that ripple effect, that butterfly effect that helps the future, that creates a better future. But we'll see. I guess we shall see. But yeah, understanding how the curse works is the key missing information. It is like, I mean, we heard that they sacrificed their children, but like you said, we need the details. We need to know exactly what happened, how the sacrifice came to be, who brought the sacrifice to the parents, why. There's a lot of key data there that we still don't have, for sure. For sure. My theory is this is the Garden of Eden after Adam and Eve were kicked out and the devil is in charge of the land. I also believe Jade is Adam and Tabitha is Eve returning to the Garden of Eden. Now that's an interesting theory. I mean, there's been a lot of interesting theories in the fandom, pertaining to the Garden of Eden and Adam and Eve, especially when you look at the painting that is in Ellis's room, and how it's kind of supposed to be a interpretation of Ellis and Fatima as Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. So that kind of theology has been woven into the show from the very beginning. So I understand why it's a popular theory.
I really like your idea, Mike. I think it's a really interesting idea. And I believe that you have proof of this. You have proof that you might be right. And the proof is that when we have that tagline, a tagline that they're using for marketing season 4, knowledge comes at a cost. We know if you have studied the theology of the Garden of Eden, It was
Mm,
not about an apple. That's a metaphor
yes.
for
Yeah.
knowledge that you're not supposed to have. You're supposed to be an innocent, carefree
Yep.
being that knows nothing of certain things. God has kept you from those things. And He has told you, here it is, here is the apple, here is the knowledge, here is the information. Do not touch it if you
Yep.
want to live in innocence and
And innocent.
happiness,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The tree of knowledge, Mike.
Yep.
Now, once they eat from the tree of knowledge, once they acquire that knowledge, it
That
comes at a cost.
forbidden knowledge. Yep.
Exactly. It comes at a cost.
Mhm.
And the cost is you're not going to get to live in the Garden of Eden. Now you're going to get to experience all of the despair that God was trying to keep you from
Yeah.
as punishment, because knowledge comes at a cost. Yes, now you know some stuff that you didn't know, and you can have a different life, right? But you have to struggle through what that life brings. It's
Yes.
not going to be pleasant like it would have been if you had just stayed ignorant.
Yep.
I believe that that is proof that you are correct.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, it's heavily woven into From, for sure. The whole Adam and Eve thing. It's very, very prevalent indeed. Yeah, cast out of paradise. Cast out of paradise. And in terms of forbidden knowledge, this was the official synopsis that recently came out about season 4. And it goes into a lot of that. In season 4, the closer the residents of the town get to the answers they seek, the more terrifying their search becomes. Who is the man in yellow? And what does he want? Will Jade and Tabitha's revelation be the key to finally going home? How much longer can Boyd hold the town together, even as his body and his mind are falling apart? And what role will the town's most recent arrival play in the events to come? Season 4 will open doors that some of the town will end up wishing had remained closed. So yeah, very much heading into that theme of forbidden knowledge, uncovering knowledge that is better left alone. And again, goes very much with the tagline: knowledge comes at a cost. So yeah, secrets are going to be unveiled, revelations are going to be found, and they are going to come at a very heavy price to our characters in Fromville. It's going to be a very dark season, guys. Strap in, because this is going to be a dark one. Very much the darkest season yet. And you can quote me on that. It's going to be a dark one.
A dark one. Now, there is something that I want to point out from what you just read.
Please.
And I want to bounce this idea with you, see what you think. When I read this, I was shocked that they say the town's most recent arrival, as in
Yep.
one, singular, not arrivals. It's a singular
Single.
arrival.
Yep.
So I'm thinking they already discussed the men in yellow up top. So this is not referring to the men in yellow,
No.
because they discussed them up top. They're now talking about the town's new arrival. Does
Yes.
that mean that the only person that survives, or the only person that makes it into town, is Sophia, and we're
Yes.
not going to get any more characters? I believe that that could be true, because
Yeah.
this is season 4. We need to wrap a lot of storylines up. We probably don't have time to get to know new characters, a lot of them. So Sophia is probably the only arrival that we're going to be seeing in season 4, episode 1. And she's going to be the person that's going to be playing a role in dividing the town. Because when it talks about Boyd falling apart, can he keep the town together? What role does the town's new arrival play in the events to come? Does this mean that her role is splitting? We get a lot of episode titles that kind of hint at a split in the town. Therefore, I'm thinking one of my tinfoil theories that Sophia's going to start her own little cult might be right.
Might be. It very much might be. And yeah, I 100% agree with you. It definitely looks like Sophia is going to be the only new arrival in Fromville. Will she be traveling with other people when she gets stuck here? Maybe. I wouldn't be surprised if it's maybe similar to how when Tabitha and Henry showed up, they showed up with 2 other EMTs who both got unceremoniously killed super fast. So I wouldn't be too surprised if maybe Sophia isn't traveling alone. She comes into Frumville with others, but she's just the only one that survives. I could definitely see that being the case. And I pointed this out in my trailer breakdown, but when we look at that one shot that we did get of Sophia, you look a little bit close, you can see kind of some like cuts and scratches on her face and on her neck, but there's also some blood on her collar as well, which could be hers, but none of the cuts she has seem to be anywhere near big enough that could have drawn that amount of blood, really. So I wouldn't be surprised if she is traveling with other people when she arrives and they get killed and she's the only one that makes it. Because yeah, we're way too late in the game. We are too late in the game. You cannot continuously keep adding characters to the story. Not without having a very specific role for them. And I think that's why this Sophia casting, when season 3 ended and we knew that season 5 was likely going to be the last season, I thought, okay, we're probably not going to get any new characters in season 4 or 5. The Man in Yellow is probably going to be the final addition to the cast because you're getting close to the end. You get to the point where you can't keep adding new characters. You have to kind of flesh out the ones you have and finish their storylines. So yeah, I definitely think that Sophia will be the last character that is introduced. I don't think we'll get any new characters after her, at least not any new full-on main characters, because Sophia is going to be a recurring role. She is going to be a main character, not a side character. And if you're introducing a main character this late in the game, yeah, it's because you have a very specific role planned for her on the show. And that's what makes Sophia's casting kind of exciting. They're doing something very deliberate here with her, and I can't wait to see what it is. Like, this isn't going to be a character that joins the show and just like sits on the sidelines like Marielle did. She's going to be a player, Sophia.
Oh, yeah, I completely agree. And I think when we look at human psychology, if we use human psychology as an example, when people are going through very, very difficult times, you are either going to, people tend towards, of course, there's also, variations, but usually people tend towards, if they are religious, religion, explaining it away with religion and praying to their God or their theology for help or salvation.
Like
If
LJ.
there's something really difficult going on, like God help me is the first thing
Yeah.
that you kind of go to.
Mhm.
And if you are not a religious person, then you go towards authority. Like, who can help me? What established government is here? What established authority can help make sense of this?
Yeah.
Boyd represents that authority, that order, that, law and order in the town. We don't have anybody that's religious. If people are going through it, like they have just gone through it, she comes in with the Bible. They don't have anything to read. They probably
Offering
already read
salvation.
everything that they've ever read.
Yeah.
If she's going to sit there at church and read passages from the Bible, yeah, I would probably show up too, because I don't
Me
have
too.
anything to read.
What
And
else
there's
you got?
nothing to do. And
Yeah.
you're offering me salvation. You're
Yeah.
offering me something that feels good at the moment, because it feels good to have hope, to think, oh, if we just pray to God, maybe we did something bad. Maybe we just have to repent, and Sophia can help us do that. And she is the answer to getting out, because we have tried what Boyd has offered, but we haven't tried what Sophia is offering. So
Yeah.
I think you're 100% right. She's going to play a major role. And I do think it's going to be a cult, guys. She's starting her own little cult.
Maybe. A lot of people agree with you. A lot of people agree that she has that kind of cult look to her with how hard she's freaking praying in that trailer. She's praying fucking hard in that trailer. Like, that's not a saying what's up to God. She's fucking writing an essay in her head. But this is an interesting one as well. Guys, do we think that this means, what does this mean for the town? The Man in Yellow is a daywalker. Will they now think they have to stay inside in the day after discovering Jim's body? I think this is going to be really predicated based on kind of how they discover Jim's body, I guess, and how quick they find out about the Man in Yellow. That is really what it's all going to come down to, because they've already discovered a body during the day in season 3, Tilly died during the day. When her body was discovered, it was broad daylight. And right away, the whole town started thinking it was Sarah that did it. So if Jim's body gets discovered during the day and they don't know the man in yellow did it, like if the man in yellow is gone by the time they find Jim's body, then I imagine it's going to be similar to the Tilly deal, where they're just going to think another human did it. Until the man in yellow actually comes out and makes himself known and shows himself to the town during the day, they really don't have anything to fear in that regard because they don't know him. Ignorance is bliss. But he will reveal himself to the town. I imagine probably won't be too long before the whole town knows about the man in yellow. And then, yes, things are definitely going to change then, because now they know that they're contending with something that is different than the monsters, far more powerful, and can come out during the day. This completely changes the game. It completely changes the board. The whole dynamic of the show naturally would have to shift. Everything's going to be far more dangerous. It's going to be far more fast paced. And we're going to see a lot of chaos and mistrust, I think. But yeah, I think until the man in yellow makes his presence known, if Jim's body just gets found during the day, it'll probably be similar to the Tilly deal until they find out about the man in yellow.
Yeah, I think that that's a possibility. I would like to offer a counterpoint and a couple other possibilities. Jim's death wasn't like Tilly's because Tilly was stabbed. So you could see, okay, somebody stabbed her. That
His
is
throat
a
was
knife
ripped
wound.
out too. That's pretty
He
gnarly.
had
That's a good point.
a he had like, a gash that
Yeah,
looks like a monster did that. So I could
it was
definitely
big.
see
Yeah,
Aniom where you're getting the idea that maybe they would think a monster did it because the way that his throat is ripped off, I mean, it would take somebody with a monster like
yeah,
power, and they have seen what people look like when a monster gets them. So I could see how they could put that together, that a monster did it.
definitely.
It doesn't look like a human did it, at least not
No,
the same human that killed Tilly by just
yeah.
stabbing her one time.
Yeah, you see her,
So I
she's
think
got the
that
garden
really,
shears in her chest. You know that she was stabbed with, a blunt object. Jim, it's not like he just looks like his throat was cut or something. That's a very good point, PM. That doesn't look like a human-made wound.
yeah. So that's one way that it could go. Now, the other way that it could go, because this is season 4, if they are really going to start um, amping up the volume, right? If we're going to start and it's going to go hardcore
Mhm.
immediately, the other thing that I would like to see is the man in yellow likes to taunt them. He said, "This is
Yeah.
my favorite part." He's
Mhm.
looking down. If he's looking down at Jim, maybe he literally grabs Jim's body and drags it from the woods to drop it off in the town
Into the
so that they
town.
could see
Yeah.
it's me. I'm here. They're gonna be
What an
like, "Who the hell
entrance.
is this guy?" And he throws the body, right?
Yeah.
If he does that, then immediately this is different. We
Yep.
don't know this guy. He's not a monster. He's walking during the day and he just killed Jim. So you're putting everything together. I think it really depends on how fast do they want to start wrapping things up, and are they really going to keep the men in yellow from seeing the townspeople and interacting for that long?
Yeah.
Because I think it would be cool if he says, "This is my favorite part." He grabs, I mean,
Makes his
think of that.
entrance.
Like, yeah, and then throws the body, right?
Yeah.
Because that is kind of what a villainous character would do,
Yeah.
would bring you the body of your beloved and throw it right in your face in the
Right.
middle of town for everybody to see.
Mm. I mean, it's certainly a show of I have arrived. That is an arrival. Like you're arriving on the freaking scene with a bang at that point. No, I think that could be very, very interesting. Kind of set the tone right there, right and early, letting the town know, right, kind of fairly early anyway, that this is different. Something different is going on. We've reached a new level to the game here, so to speak. And David says, seems like the man in yellow also has some rules to follow and only acts under certain circumstances. Well, it's really hard to tell. I mean, there's a lot of good theories out there, but in terms of like actual facts that we know about the man in yellow, we really don't know. We know nothing about him. We don't know if he has rules that he has to operate under. We don't know why he showed up now. Why is this his favorite part? Like we really don't know yet. Could he have some rules that he has to follow? I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, when John Griffin and all of the creators talk about the show, they always talk about Fromville operating under a certain set of rules. But then again, we also hear the boy in white say that things are changing now. Fromville is changing now. It's different now. So even maybe he did have rules at one point and doesn't. Who knows? It's really hard to know, I guess, is the point I'm trying to make, because we don't really have any factual data on him yet. Which brings me to the next comment, which I have also wondered myself from Lord Webb. I wonder if the man in yellow can just walk right into one of the houses. Yes. Will the talismans work on the man in yellow? I don't know. I just gut instinct. We don't really have anything to go on, but gut instinct says no. I don't think the talismans will keep him out. I just don't. The talismans didn't keep out the kimono creature. I highly doubt they're going to keep out the man in yellow. If the talismans would have worked on the kimono creature, then I maybe would have had a little bit more faith. But we've seen clear evidence that the talismans do not work on the kimono creature. She shows up right in Colony House. She shows up right in the barn when Fatima is hidden in the woods. They don't work on her. So if they don't work on her, I'm getting the feeling the talismans only work on the monsters. And the man in yellow, they'll probably have no effect on him. That's just my guess, though.
I mean, I would have to agree with you. I think you make an excellent point. Kimono Lady somehow is giving that in the hierarchy, she is below the man in yellow. So if they're not working on her and she's lower in the hierarchy, they're probably not going to work on the man in yellow. So I completely agree with that. Now, I would like to point out Mikey Ann's comment in the chat. You have some great ideas, Mikey Ann. Thank you so much for this idea. His idea is, I think the man in yellow will throw Jim into the faraway tree and Jim will appear in the swimming pool. Once again, Mikey Ann, you have evidence for what you're saying to be true. And the evidence that we have is Dale. Dale, we know that if you're going into a tree without, and this ties Jeremy's theory, without the permission of the boy in white, who is the person that directs you safely through the trees, not the man in yellow, but the boy in white, without him, you're going to end up in bad places. The woods are right there, right where Jim was killed by the man in yellow. It would be very fitting, and I think it would make a lot of sense that he would throw him into a faraway tree and he would show up the same place that Dale did, only maybe not embedded.
Not in the wall.
Not on the wall, just laying down.
That'd be funny though if he was in the wall. If Jim's like dead body just showed up like literally right next to Dale's, just stuck in the fucking wall with him. That'd be hilarious. But no, I mean, and this is a great theory. This is a really good theory that's been catching a lot of steam lately, and I fucking love it too. Because I had a feeling that, when you see that trailer, it looks like they're all looking at something in the pool. That much looks very clear. But how exactly does Jim's body get into the pool if it is Jim's body that they're looking? We don't really know much about the man in yellow, his powers, his abilities, what he's capable of. But like you said, we do know what is capable of transporting something in the blink of an eye, and that is the trees. So yeah, I like this tree. I like this theory. I think it fits well. I think it's an interesting one. And and unless the boy in white is present, these faraway trees lead to danger. So I could see that happening. Could definitely see that being the case. I think that'd be very interesting. Seeing the man in yellow just fucking stuffing Jim's fucking body into a fucking tree. Like you're stuffing a kid into a locker in high school. That could be really funny. Really funny, but it could very well be plausible. For sure.
Yeah, I think Mikey Ann, it would make for an excellent scene, and it would fit with the playful sort of taunting that the man in yellow exhibits. He's laughing, he's smiling, he's having a great time, saying, "This is my favorite part." Yeah. So him picking up Jim and throwing him through a tree would very much give you Grinch vibes, right? Like Grinch vibes of throwing the tree up the chimney chute. And it's fitting his aesthetic, where he is evil, but he's also very playful. He doesn't just want to hurt you or kill you. He's not super serious about it. He's having fun with it. He's like, I'm going to take my time. I've done this a couple of times. I love this part. And he's playful with it. So something tells me that that would be something that he would do, because it would be playful and it would be fun for him to see people all of a sudden see a body just coming in through the pool, and that being Jim's dead body.
I mean, it sends a message too at the end of the day too. It sends a message that, you're dealing with something different now. You're dealing with something you haven't dealt with before. It sets the stakes, a little bit higher. So yeah, and yeah, I would. Bill D says it would be crazy if the Man in Yellow kills a few main characters in season 4. I wouldn't be surprised if he does. I think we're going to lose a lot of main characters in season 4. I mean, we lost 2 main characters in season 3 with Jim and Tian Chen. I have to imagine if season 4 is going to be their darkest season, which it very much looks like it is based on everything we've seen, and even now with the synopsis coming out, kind of backing that up a little bit, this is going to be a very tough season. Yeah, if you lost 2 characters in season 3, we're definitely going to lose at least 2 more in season 4, maybe even more than 2. So yeah, I would be very surprised if we don't lose a couple main characters in season 4. Maybe not all killed by the Man in Yellow, but we're definitely losing some main characters in season 4, whether it's from the monsters, the Man in Yellow, or what other dangers are out there. There's going to be a significant death toll, is my estimation, in season 4, for sure.
Yeah, and Bill D, I have an idea, right?
Ooh.
Now that you're mentioning this, and we've always thought, we think main characters, that's where our mind goes, because these are the people that we are invested on.
Yeah.
But my theory is we need to take care of the mob of town people that we don't know, that we don't interact with. We know that there's a lot of them. We saw them at the meeting. We saw them kind of going into Tian Cheng's house
Yeah.
to get the food when there was scarcity in the town.
Mhm.
Those people cannot be hanging around for the last season when our main characters are trying to get out of from. Otherwise,
there
it would be
too
like a
many people?
massive 30 people and Boyd
Yeah.
trying to wrangle 30 people and tell them what it is. It's
Yeah.
easier if it's a very, very small group.
Mhm.
Therefore, I conclude all of those people, all of the extras, the people that we don't know, the people that we see walking around, they need to go. They need to go so that the town can be smaller
And that'll
and
be
that
the
we could
massacre.
interact. That will be the massacre. And
Yeah.
we will not have to worry about, well, what does the town think? They're going to leave us with just very few people, 2 factions that, some people listen to Boyd, some people perhaps listen to Sophia or Acosta. But we are no longer going to have to worry about the townspeople, the ungrateful townspeople that just kind of seem to ruin everything. They need to go. And if you think about it story wise, we cannot be working with those many people when we're trying to find salvation. It would take a lot to wrangle them up.
Mhm. I think so. I like you said, I mean, there's a lot of characters in Fromville. I guess there's only a few main characters, but the population inside Fromville is pretty decent. And we've tried to count how many people are in there based on some of the few shots that we get where it looks like the whole town's gathered. And there's a lot of people there. The estimate is anywhere between like 30 and 50 people around. So yeah, there's too many people. How do you get all of these people out of here? Well, you don't. You trim the fat down a little bit. Yes, you have maybe a massacre. Maybe a massacre does. And again, I do think that the cycles end in a massacre, and maybe another one is coming, but some of our characters survive it. But yes, you trim some of the fat with some of those extras because there's a lot of characters. I mean, it's going to be, unless they already have it planned out where there's a way that everybody's going to get out, all of the extras too, which I doubt is the case. I mean, who knows, maybe. But yeah, you got to trim the fat a little bit. Got to trim the fat a little bit. I agree with you for sure. I agree with you. And yeah, it would be interesting to see. It would be very interesting to see. I guess we'll find out. If you take Sarah and Acosta, we're even for Jim. Well, I mean, Acosta's another interesting case where she got introduced into the show in season 3, and her kind of what her main role is going to be is still a little unclear. I know there's a lot of theories out there that she might be a rival to Boyd in season 4, that she might be one of the, a leader of a new faction if the town kind of splits. Very popular theory going around. But it's probably nothing. I imagine it is nothing, but just when looking at knowledge comes at a cost, I naturally think of Acosta. Knowledge comes at a cost. Acosta. It's literally her name spelt out right there. Again, I don't know if that's just a coincidence. Probably just a coincidence, or maybe a little fun little thing that the writers threw in there. But I don't know. Ever since I saw that phrase, I don't know. I guess I'm just maybe a little sus of Acosta now. because her name is literally the ending of the fucking phrase. But it's probably nothing, probably just a coincidence at the end of the day. But fun little tidbit, if nothing else. And someone else also pointed out in the comment section the other day that the word owl is in there as well. Knowledge. Knowl. Owl. So people are finding these little fun things in there, which again probably mean nothing. These are the little things that we like to pay a little closer attention to, but probably won't really mean anything in the overall narrative at the end of the day. But it's still fun to kind of dive into these rabbit holes every once in a while and have some fun with it, and yeah, I want to go into winter sleep until 100% though. Yeah, we'll definitely want to go into winter sleep until From releases. I mean, what do we got? Little less than 2 months now, but shit, if I could sleep that time away, I would.
Yeah. Just to talk about the Acosta thing that you're saying, it's amazing. I love it. I love it. We have realistic theories. We have everything in this channel. Anything that you could
Yeah.
ever want. We have
From
realistic
tinfoil
theories.
to realistic, you got it all.
Exactly. We have like evidence-based theories, but then we also get tinfoil with it once in a while. We also have
Yeah.
outlandish theories
Why
and little
not?
theories like this that make it really interesting. I would like to add to what you just said. Knowledge comes at a cost.
Please.
In the finale, we literally see that Acosta opens the door to Colony House. She has no idea what's going on. She's like, what is going on? And they don't want to let her see what is happening.
Mhm.
Then she starts screaming at Boyd. And the last conversation that Acosta has with Boyd, she says, you can't be doing this. If you do this, I'm going to tell the whole town. I'm going to let them know what you did. And that's
Yes.
when Boyd says, bring it on. I'm here to answer and I'm here to represent it. So she did gain that knowledge. She gained enough knowledge to destroy Boyd if she wanted to. She has some knowledge about Tilly and the fact that now they're looking for a human who has killed Tilly. And she has knowledge about what they're doing to Elgin. The townspeople do not know that. The people at large don't know
Yeah.
that. So she has knowledge about two things that she could use to bring Boyd down.
She does. She does indeed. And I also wanted to give a huge thank you. Wow, thank you so much, Delightful Dieter, for the $2. That is incredibly generous of you. Wow, thank you. Please like, share, and subscribe. Absolutely, guys. Hit that like, hit that share, subscribe. We're going to be doing tons of From stuff throughout From Season 4 and leading up to it. We love diving into the show with each and every one of you. I love hearing from you guys. You guys come up with some of the coolest freaking theories that we hear. And it's always a blast to kind of get on here and just chat with you guys. So I'm super freaking grateful. I've got almost 100 people in here tonight. Super awesome. Thank you so much, Dieter. That's incredibly generous of you, man. Thank you. Very much appreciate that. Awesome stuff, guys. Awesome stuff. Yeah, this is just the best community in the world. I dive into a lot of different shows on the channel. I from a lot of different communities that I hang out in. But there's something about the From community that's just different. It's just different than the rest. It's got that kind of community, that camaraderie. You get that sense where we're all kind of trying to solve this big mystery together in a way, and I like that. That's tons of fun, and I'm super grateful for it as well. So yeah, thank you guys so much, and thank you so much, Dieter, as well. Very generous of you. Thank you.
Yeah, I love it. I like to say that this has become our group project. This is
It's
our
a group
group.
project. Yeah.
We are collectively coming together to solve From. And this is the best community, the nicest people. I mean, it's nothing but kind-hearted, really nice, intelligent people. I have received nothing but just, encouragement and love from them. And not one negativity, thing that I have seen in the community. The community is so positive. But also, my favorite thing about you guys is I always say, if anybody could figure it out, it's Jeremy's chat. I learned so much. I learned so much when we do the live streams because you guys will mention things that I have no idea about. And then I'll get to research. And I'm becoming more intelligent just by hanging out with you guys.
No, me too. Me too. Every time I get on here, I feel like I see a new theory or a new idea, or I'll see something in the chat that inspires a new theory in me, or gets me to see things in a different light. And that's what's fun. We're all watching the same show, but we all see it through our own lens. And that's always what's fun about this kind of coming together and seeing how one person sees this, how this person sees that. Because shows like this, they leave so much up for interpretation. So there's so many different ways you can interpret a lot of these scenes. So it's always fun to see how people kind of consume the same media that you're consuming and how different they see it. But yeah, can't say enough about how grateful I am for the From fandom. It's awesome. Absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. David says the Acosta is the wild card archetype. The wild card usually butts heads with the ruler, Boyd, and the caretaker, Donna. I think Acosta and Kenny start opposing Boyd and Donna. Ooh, interesting. You can't throw Kenny in there. No. I could definitely see Acosta. Starting to butt heads with Donna and Boyd. Hell, she already is practically. But I find it very unlikely that Kenny would take Acosta's side over Boyd, unless they kind of strike up some kind of romance in season 4, which I really hope they don't. Kenny and Boyd, they just have such a good connection. They have such a deep bond. They've already had a huge falling out over something, as big gets. The biggest falling out that you can have with somebody in terms of Kenny and Boyd's falling out in season 2. But they've reconciled. They've kind of come out the other end with their friendship being even stronger. It's not even a friendship anymore. It's more like a father-son relationship now. And you very much see that in season 3 with Tien Chen's death and her last words saying, take care of him. He'll be alone now. And Boyd really taking that to heart, to the point where he sat there and memorized what Tien Chen was saying in freaking Cantonese. And he doesn't even speak Cantonese. I feel like the bond between Kenny and Boyd is just way, way too deep for Kenny to ever betray Boyd. After you share a scene like this with someone, you just don't betray them.
What are the bottles for?
I'm going into the tunnels. I'm gonna find those things. And I'm gonna burn every last fucking one of them.
Okay.
Okay, what?
Okay, let's do it. Let's go.
Victor and Tabitha said they're everywhere down there.
Yeah, Jade went down there. Clearly saw some disturbing shit. What he didn't see, creatures. The single one.
There's the one thing I do know. This is how they want us. Angry. I also know this. Hey, if we find them, there's a good chance we are not coming back. But if this is what you want to do, I will go with you side by side, and we will take out as many of those motherfuckers as we can.
And how alone she must have felt.
Hey, she wasn't alone. It made me watch. Hey, she was strong, Kenny. She was strong. Listen to me. She was brave. She looked at me and she did not take her eyes off me. Before she died, she said, Oho chuguko yiga takochi gela. No, I don't even know if I'm saying this right.
Take care of him. That's what it means. Take care of him. He'll be alone now.
Come here, man. Come here. It's okay. I got you, bro. Hey, let's go back, okay?
I mean, so sad. But it's so sad, but it's so, hopeful too. When you come away with it, where you have Kenny just on the brink, ready to just throw his life away. He's done. He's had enough. I'm taking them out with me. And Boyd just, all right, let's do this. Ready to stand there toe to toe with him and throw his life away, because that is what Kenny needed. Knowing that Boyd still has a son in Ellis, knowing that Boyd has a grandkid on the way at the time. He knew what Kenny needed at the moment, and he needed a father in that moment. And that's what he was. He was his father. And that's why I always say, hashtag Kenny's the better son. He just is. No, I mean, I never in a million years could I ever see Kenny betraying Boyd. I just can't see that happening.
You guys, Jeremy, the King of From, is very protective. Okay, this is one thing. He's very protective about the relationship between Boyd and Kenny. Always has been, always will be. So he
Very much.
just refuses to believe that Kenny could ever stand against Boyd.
Maybe I'm
And I could
biased.
see why. I could see why. I could definitely see why. Because that connection, that bond, Boyd, that's why Boyd is my favorite character in the show. Boyd is the type of friend that you need. He's the type of friend that when you are down and you say, hey, I'm about to do something super destructive, they say, let's go, let's ride. It's me and you, like, we're going to go hand in hand, and I will do something destructive with you because you needed that at that time. Not salvation, but somebody who's going to go down to hell with you. He is the type of friend that we all need, you know?
He is. Boyd, he is that type of person that you wish could have your back. He's that type of person that you know is going to be there for you. That is, like you said, literally going to climb down into the depths of hell with you if that is what's required. And he won't fucking complain a fucking word. That is who Boyd is. And it's just so awesome to see that kind of character, that pure of heart. Boyd very much is, he is your quintessential hero. And that's good. Sometimes hero storylines can be clichéic. There's nothing clichéic about Boyd. He's got so much trauma. He's got so much damage. He's very flawed. But damn it, if he isn't one of the most honorable motherfuckers you've ever seen in your life. And I love that about him. I absolutely love that about his character. He stands by his convictions, and he is rock solid about them, and nothing will ever sway him in any direction. Not his death, nothing. And that there's a certain kind of extra level of inner strength that someone has to kind of have in order to have that mindset. Not every human could have that mindset. There's an extra little something inside you that you really have to reach down deep for to be able to kind of be that kind of person when the chips are down, when it really matters. And that's why we love him. That's why he's such a great character. That's why he's such a great lead for the show. And Harold Perrineau just is so phenomenal.
Yeah, Boyd is my favorite character. And shows are, yes, they are entertainment and they're artistic and they are for consumption and for you to kind of get away from the real world. But we are humans and we write our reality into our entertainment, into our stories. We write our reality because we are humans and that's what humans do. There's lessons to be learned from everything. I strive to be like Boyd. I want to be Boyd. You know, when we ask ourselves, the family asks the question, who would you want to be in town? I want to be Boyd. That's who I want to be. In my life, I strive to be like Boyd. He is big heck. He is ride or die. And he's flawed, right? But he's trying his best. Also, I would like to point out that Catherine Sanders, I believe, said Boyd and Sarah. You could have a lot of opinions about Sarah, but I'll tell you something about Sarah. If you show Sarah the smallest amount of loyalty, the smallest amount of support, that girl will go all the way for you. And that is also another type of friend that you want to have. You don't have to, she is the type of person that remembers you showed me a tiny bit of kindness when nobody else did. And then she's ride or die for you for the rest of her life. Now, Boyd and Sarah, those are the two type of friends that you want to have. I don't want to be Sarah, but 100% I want to be Boyd.
Yeah. I don't want to be Sarah, but I certainly wouldn't mind having a friend like Sarah any day of the week. Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, Boyd is he's just such a well-written character. And I'm glad that he has flaws. Yeah, you can, yes, might have a little bit of plot armor at times, but he's the main character of the show. He's going to get into some scrapes and he's most likely always going to get out of them. But that's not going to last forever. Again, I do think he will die in this series in the final season. But he's written so well because he is flawed, because he has all these traumatic moments. Like you think of some of the things that he's had to do. Just, this is a man that had to kill his own wife to save his son. This is a man that had to hold a gun to his wife and pull the trigger to save his son. That is what he
Yeah.
had to do. Like I can't even imagine
Mm.
something like that. The mindset that something like that would do to someone, and the conviction that you have to be able to do it in the first place. It's He's next level. He is next
Yeah.
level. Like that's why he's such a good character. He's so complex. He's got so many good layers, and you see some of the things that he's had to do. The fact that he's even still standing is fucking impressive.
Yeah.
Let
I
alone
love him.
strong
I
years.
love him. He's a savage. He is the goat. He is
The
everything
goat.
that I ever wanted. Boyd is
The goat.
amazing. And I would argue, yes, the scene where he kills Abby, his wife,
Mhm.
he's singing to her their song. He's
I
trying to
know.
de-escalate. He
So
is
fucking
killing
sad.
her with love, if you will. He's killing her with love and kindness and what their relationship has been. And the way, the most loving way, this is crazy to say, but the most loving way that a husband could kill a wife, okay? He has to, but he's doing it in the most loving way. And I would argue, for me, if I had a family, a child with someone, that's the type of partner that I want. That's the type of co-parent
Yeah.
that I would want. Somebody that is willing to care for our child so much that if it comes down to it, they'll kill me and
Yeah.
I'll kill them. That is the type of partnership
Yeah.
that is a winning duo.
Yeah, 100%. It shows that level of commitment. Of course, this is the love of your life, but when you bring a child into the world, you're not living for yourself anymore. You're not living for you. You're living for that child. So yeah, what Boyd did took so much conviction. It took so much heart, took so much bravery, so much strength. And the fact that he didn't let it just completely break him into a million pieces is incredibly impressive and is another testament to just the strength of his inner will, like his sheer will to continue moving forward. And that's the soldier in him. He is a soldier. But yeah, great character, just phenomenal character. He's written so freaking well, so freaking well. We've been glazing the fuck out of Boyd tonight, but he's earned it. He's fucking earned it. He's great. But no, honestly, the whole cast it's such a good cast. Like these characters are all incredibly well written. They're all incredibly well rounded. It's not like any of these characters are like completely perfect or completely fucked up. A lot of them operate in a little bit of that gray area where they have some shit in their past. But they're doing the best they can in this place. But yeah, I just can't wait. Cannot wait for season 4 to eventually get here. I know we're finally getting closer and closer now. I imagine we'll probably get one more trailer before season 4 gets here. I imagine they'll follow the same format for that they did for season 3, where they released that little snippet 30-second teaser, and then around a month or so later, they released a full 3-minute trailer. So I imagine we'll probably be getting the same thing. Maybe next month we'll get a full 2 to 3 minute trailer, and then boom, before we know it, April 19th will be here, and we will be diving back into Fromville. And then we'll be doing our pregame shows, our watch parties, our after shows, the whole shebang. You know how we do it here. And I can't wait. I cannot wait to dive into season 4 with each and every one of you. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, I love that Footballfinity in the chat has counted down the days. We need to do a countdown,
Yep.
like day
We'll
clock,
do a countdown in the
70
Discord.
days. Yes,
Every
let's go
day
get it.
I will count down in the Discord with a new kind of graphic. I'll make a GIF every day if I have to, and we'll count down
Love it.
every day until Fromville. Yeah.
I love it. I
Love
love it. And talking about the show, the time is going to fly by, you guys, because
Yeah.
we have so much to
Yeah.
discuss. As we're getting the trailer, there will be more information that we have to discuss, or perhaps a poster, right? There will be more information. So the days are just going to fly by. One of our favorite people in the chat, Pam Jam, made a comment that I loved. I was telling her, I love your comment. We read all of your comments. And her comment was, I don't think you could get much more out of those, 30-second trailer
Oh,
teaser.
come
I
on.
don't think you
Jam
could get
Jam
much
knows
more.
better than
And it's like,
that.
Pam Jam, we could talk for
You're a
years
family
about
member.
these 30 seconds. You've seen us in action. We
Yeah.
will talk your ear off,
Mhm.
forever over 15, 30 seconds.
We will wring blood out of that stone until there is no stone to wring, straight up. But yeah, I mean, this is Pam Jam knows that, I think, deep down. She's a Frumley member. She knows the deal. Like, of course we can continue to dissect every little thing. But yeah, I can't wait. I'm looking forward to the full trailer. I'm hoping we get that around a month or so from now, and then we'll be able to really dive in. Guns N' Roses says, out of all the characters, I relate with Jade the most. I'd be driving myself insane trying to figure it out and never giving up while eventually putting some pieces together. There's definitely an aspect in me that would definitely be doing that as well. I feel like I would be kind of, like 70% Boyd mentality and like 30% Jade mentality trying to figure this stuff out. Because it would just be getting to me, like, trying to figure out the numbers and all these weird mysteries. Like, that's why we love this show. That's why all of us have been gravitating towards a show like this, because we love mysteries. We love trying to figure this stuff out. So yeah, I imagine most of us here in the chat would probably have a similar inquisitive mind that Jade does, and we would be kind of obsessed with trying to figure some stuff out. I think a lot of us would be doing that for sure. Sure.
Guns N' Roses 87. That sounds like a winning combination. If you are Jade and Boyd, now that's somebody I want to meet. In the chat, you guys, don't choose just one. Tell us if you had to choose a combination of two characters. It has to be minimum two, a combination. What characters? It has to be a combination, not just one. So just like Guns N' Roses did, tell us in the chat. I think I would be 70% Boyd, because he had me at a man protects his family, getting to go around town grabbing men and slapping them and screaming at them.
That's my kind of dude. Yeah.
I want to be doing that job. And I would say, do I want to say Sarah or Randall? Randall.
Sarah.
And some Randall or some Sarah. Let's just be honest. I want to be a Randall, but I am a Sarah. Sarah and Boyd.
Sarah's great though. Sarah's a badass.
I love Sarah. Sarah is my girl. Okay, Sarah's my girl. The positive qualities in Sarah I love. So yeah, I'd probably be Boyd and Sarah together, a mix.
Interesting. Very interesting. Ellis, Dad, Mom was going to kill me, but you killed Mom first. I'm angry at you. That really was the gist of it at the end of the day. And that's the thing. Boyd didn't just have to kill his own wife. He then had to watch his son hate him for it for the next 2 years before they eventually finally kind of made up. So it's like he lost both. Boyd lost his wife and he lost his son that day. He lost both of them. And yeah, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Eventually, Ellis does kind of come around and see that Boyd did what any parent would do. But yeah, at first, he loses them both. Looking forward to the trailer. Don't want to see a lot. Just enough to get more hyped. And hopefully, they don't give the screener people. Hopefully, they don't give screeners to the people who spoil it. Yeah, the spoilers were so unfortunate last year. Like, oh my God, it got to the point where when we got to the end of the season, I just had to completely stay away from pretty much all social media because I didn't want to have that finale spoiled for me. I had heard that it was out there and I didn't want to get spoiled because I know a lot of people were. It sucks. I mean, and that was one thing we did notice with season 3. MGM started giving early screeners out to a lot more people with a lot smaller audiences than they usually do. Usually MGM gives out screeners, but usually it's to people with established audiences. I turn them down myself personally. Like I don't like early access. I get it offered all the time. But I don't like seeing the episodes early because I like doing theory videos and I like guessing what's going to be coming next. And if I watch the episodes early, I can't really do theory videos anymore. And that would be a bummer. I just like watching the show with everybody else. But yeah, we did notice a big uptick in early screeners for season 3. And that could have been, most likely that was probably one of the causes of the leaks. Unfortunately, it's unfortunate, but it happens. So yeah, I would love to see them maybe tighten the net a little bit with season 4 and maybe be a little more selective with who they offer it to. But it's their show, it's their product. They can do whatever they want with it at the end of the day. But I'm with you. I mean, when the full trailer does come out, I'm hoping that they follow similar formats that they followed in previous seasons, where usually most of their trailers are only cut from around the first 3 or 4 episodes. You look back at all of the trailers that came out, all of the trailers have scenes only for around the first half of the season. And I love that. They're not even putting scenes in the trailer for any episodes that come from like episode 6 on. Even season 3, look at that season 3 trailer, a full 3-minute trailer. There's not one scene in that trailer that takes place past episode 5. They're all scenes from the first 4 episodes. So I hope when they make this trailer, they do something similar where they cut it. I mean, because I imagine they can cut a mean trailer just from the first 3 or 4 episodes. There's no need to show anything from the finale. So that's one thing I like about MGM, because HBO is the exact fucking opposite, and it is so annoying. HBO, every time they do a trailer for any of the Song of Ice and Fire shows, they show tons of scenes from the freaking finale. And I don't get why they do that. You can cut a trailer from just the first 3 or 4 episodes and make it interesting. If you can't, then you got a shit show on your hands. But I don't know. I guess we'll see. Hopefully they follow a similar format for season 4. And it's only the first 3 or 4 episodes that get made into a trailer.
Yeah, and delightful Dieter. We all, you know why I love being wrong? And when we make a video, we put all of our effort into it and it turns out to be wrong. Because when you are wrong, that means that you authentically are trying to solve the show. It shows you that this person is not getting spoiled and it's not getting information or watching the episodes and then making videos saying, this is my theory. And they just happen to hit 100% all off the bat. It's good when you see a creator come up with an idea and it turns out not to be true. That lets you know they're really thinking about what they're putting out. Their content is genuine. It's not somebody who watched the episode and then fed you a video where if like it was spoiling you without your consent, basically, because you're watching this video thinking it's a theory video when it's just the episode told to you by somebody who says it's their theory. So it's always a good sign when creators get their theories wrong. That lets you know that it's authentic. Some of them will be right, some of them will be wrong.
Yeah. I mean, it's always good to have a nice, healthy mix of both. Like we come up with a lot of theories here on this channel, and a lot of you guys do in the chat as well. And it's always fun when you kind of have a good, healthy mix of both, where you're getting a good amount of theories wrong and a good amount of theories right. And that's kind of how it's been for the most part, at least in our neck of the woods. But yeah, it's just so fun theorizing about the show. I wouldn't want to watch the episodes early. Nothing against early access. I mean, like when House of the Dragon season 1 came out, I accepted early access for that just because I knew the story already and I knew what was going to happen. But I declined it for seasons 2 and I'll decline it again for season 3. Just because when I got it, it cheapened the season a little bit for me in season 1. While I enjoyed watching it, I didn't get to enjoy it with everybody every week. And that really is a big difference. Like it's just not as fun watching all the episodes before everybody else. And then you just can't talk about them. You got to just stay quiet. That just sounds abysmal to me. That does not sound fun. What's fun about the show is watching it with everybody, is talking about it with everybody, is coming up with theories to see what's going to happen next. I'd be chewing off my own fingers if I saw all these episodes early and wasn't able to talk about them with everybody. That would not be good for my my mental health. But no,
the King of From cannot betray us. The King of From cannot betray its people and then watch all the episodes while we wait and we get nothing but just crumbs every week.
Never.
You can't betray your people.
Never. Absolutely not. Never, never, never. No, it's so fun watching the show every week with everybody. It really is. I mean, there's nothing that I would rather, no circumstance under which I would rather watch the show. I mean, again, I'm not a binge watcher anyway. Myself personally, I hate the binge model. I am not a fan of just binging through episodes and watching one after another in succession. That's not how I like to consume my stories. I like to take my time. I like to watch each episode multiple times to really get the gist of not only what's on the surface, but what's beneath the surface. What are some of the underlying messages that the writers and directors are trying to kind of show within each scene? There's always a deeper level to find on it. And sometimes you miss some of that stuff when you binge watch stuff. So I'm not a fan of the binge model, not a fan of seeing the episodes early, but that's just my personal preference. Definitely nothing against anybody who does like early access, obviously. I know there's nothing wrong with it. I just like watching the episodes with everybody else. It's just a personal preference is all, but definitely not a knock on anybody that does take early access. There's nothing wrong with that. We need members of the press to review stuff early. But yeah, I guess we'll see. Hopefully, though, I agree with you, Dieter. Hopefully, we don't get any leaks. I am hoping we don't get any leaks. At least nothing like super big like what happened in season 3. So no leaks. Hopefully, no leaks. We will pray to the Fromville gods that there will be no leaks. Yeah, Jimmy thinks early viewing then he is toast. No. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I don't want to be toast. I don't want to be toast. And you guys know me. Half of my theories are wrong all the time. Half of them might be right, but a good amount of them are wrong too. So, and that's fun that way. It wouldn't be fun, any other way. It's always fun when a theory's wrong. But when you were talking about that earlier, I was wondering where you're going to go with it, and I love where you went with it. It was such a good point to make. But also another point of when your theory's wrong, when you find out that your theory is wrong, you also learn something. It's also new knowledge that you have gained, so you can better theorize going forward. Okay, this theory was wrong. Let me not focus on this. Let me rethink and start something else. So it's always good to find out that your theory is wrong as much as it is to find out that it's right.
Yeah,
Knowledge,
I mean,
it's something
Jeremy,
learned.
yeah, exactly. Jeremy and I sometimes watch the trailers for movies that we want to just watch in our own free time, our personal time. And we'll watch the trailer. And by the end of the trailer, we're like, we know what this is about next. And we just go through movies like that. Like the trailer has everything. We know what the story is. I know how it's going to end. So it's really refreshing when you find the show and you really put your mind to it. And it turns out that you're wrong on your theory. It's really refreshing because it's almost like, yes, you got me. And not a lot of people do.
Okay,
You got me.
challenge
You fooled
accepted.
me, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
So for me, it feels very exciting when I can't tell what the hell is going on. That makes it fun. And if I watch the trailer and I think, oh, okay, I get the storyline, been there,
Yeah.
done that, I won't watch the movie
Yeah.
or the show.
and she is 100% telling the truth. I can't tell you how many times that we've almost watched a movie and she kind of guesses the plot and we just don't end up watching it because she knows what's going to happen. It ruins it. Once you know what's going to come, it's not as fun at that point. So wow, what's the point of even watching it at that point? But yeah, from definitely not a show to just binge. It's not very conducive to the binge model, in my opinion. This is a show you need to take your time with. And thank you so much for that, Ray. Very much appreciate that. Yes, we recently hit 33,000 subscribers, which is a huge milestone just for me personally. As some of you might know, the number 33 is very near and dear to me. It's why it's in my YouTube handle, Jeremy Eisenfire 33. It's a very important number to me personally. So hitting 33,000 subscribers is a dream, something I never thought would happen ever in a million years. So I can't thank each and every one of you enough. I really am super grateful for all the love and support you guys have shown this channel. It really does mean everything to me. Absolutely does. And thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Will Spear stayed away from the leaks. I mean, I did, but it was very difficult to stay away from the leaks because I have the Discord, I have the channel, I have the comment section. I try to read all the comments, and it got to the point where I couldn't really even enter my own comment section for fear of people just spoiling stuff. But then again, I also felt like this is my comment section. I don't want people coming into my comment section and getting spoiled. So should I scroll, and if there's a spoiler, fuck it, I'll just see it and delete it so nobody else sees it. So it's like, it was such a fucking awful spot, So yeah, it sucks when big leaks like that come out. It just fucking sucks. But hopefully we don't get that. Hopefully it doesn't happen this year. But yeah, season 4 Season 4, ladies and gentlemen, it is coming. We are closer and closer now, just a little over 2 months away. As the chat was gracious enough to point out, we have 70 days left. 70 days remaining until From Season 4 hits our screens. And of course, we'll be here breaking every little frame down of not just this teaser, but hopefully the next trailer that we get that I'm hoping will come next month or so. And we will continue to get this hype train, this From hype train, moving in the right direction for Season 4. I'm super excited. I can't freaking believe it. It feels, I mean, it's been forever. That's the one thing about From. We have a good deal of wait time in between seasons. So when it does eventually get here, it just feels so much sweeter, you know? But yeah, there we have it, folks. Season 4 is on the way.
Yeah, this is already the best year ever. The best year ever. I mean, the world is falling apart and it's burning and it's going to hell in a basket. But we have From. And
We
you
got
could
From.
just, be like Tabitha. Whenever you are interacting in the world, just be like, no, 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 and focus on From so that you could survive the year. I'm so excited. I almost don't want it to be here because
I
I'm
know,
like, oh
right?
my
I
God, what am
almost
I
wish
going
it
to do
was
when
further.
I already miss it?
I
I already
know,
miss
yeah.
it for when it
Yeah.
leaves.
Yeah. I mean, part of me wouldn't mind if it did come out a little bit later, because that's just more months of lead up to it and more fun that we have discussing and theorizing before we actually see it. So yeah, I mean, again, the fan in me wants to see it today. The fan in me wants to see it tomorrow. But I also wouldn't mind if it didn't come out until like fucking September or October or something, because we could have a lot more time of theorizing. But again, you can't theorize forever. It gets to the point where you got to watch the show. So I get it. But I'm with you there, PM, for sure. But yeah, awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Big thank you to each and every one of you for joining us on this fine evening of the Fromville Hour. We have another snowstorm, unfortunately, coming. I know that big snowstorm just passed. We got another one, unfortunately, up here in the frozen north. We tend to get a lot of them. So I'll be dealing with that for the next few days. But I am working on a From video right now that I will probably have up on the channel tomorrow or the next day, the latest. So be on the lookout for that. It is my What Comes Next prediction video that I'm working on. And if you guys are also watching A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which I highly recommend you do, From is still a little ways away. A Night of the Seven Kingdoms has been such a breath of fresh air in terms of good television in a sea full of shit these days. And it's just been so endearing, such a fun show to watch. So if you guys haven't watched that, check that out. I just put up my episode 5 trailer breakdown for A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and check it out. And yeah, it's something fun to watch while we wait for From to come around. And I'm enjoying it. I'm very much enjoying A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. It's a really solid show. And of course, guys, head over to PM Philosophy's channel, give her a sub, and check out her latest video as well. She just put out an awesome breakdown of the From teaser trailer, laying out some of her theories and the no time jump theory, which I fully agree with. I think she's spot on with it. So head over to PM's channel, subscribe to her if you haven't already, and be on the lookout, because I know she's got a lot of From content that she's planning.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jeremy. Jeremy always forgets me, and I like to
No,
thank him
never.
for it.
Never. Always
Thank
remember.
you so much.
Always. But yeah, head over there, subscribe to PM. I really want to try and get her to 1,000 subs during the course of From Season 4. That is my goal, and that is what I'm going to be trying to do. But yeah, she's got some awesome content, really great stuff. You guys know her. She's awesome, super great member of the Fromly, and we love to support fellow members of the Fromly in these parts. So head over there to PM's channel and give her a sub and check out her latest breakdown video. And as always, big thank you to each and every one of you. Stay safe out there, ladies and gents. Be kind to one another. And as always, keep those tinfoil hats on, folks. And we will see all of you on the next one. Cheers.
aren't Cooey.
Mom?
If we push too hard, something will push back.
What happens next is my favorite part.